Let's be honest, folks. Is there anything more satisfying than a perfectly cooked steak? That crispy, seasoned crust giving way to a juicy, tender center? From the bustling night markets of Asia to the fine dining establishments of Europe, steak holds a place of honor on menus worldwide. Whether you're a seasoned grill master or a kitchen novice, the allure of a perfectly cooked steak is undeniable. Number 1. Steak's international flair. Journey with me on a culinary adventure as we explore the global landscape of steak. From Tuscany's Fiorentina steaks to Buenos Aires asado, steak takes on a unique character worldwide. In France, steak frites reign supreme, while Japan's Wagyu beef is prized for its rich marbling. Each culture has its own unique approach, but the universal language of steak is one of pure, unadulterated flavor. Number 2. A culinary adventure awaits. In the following chapters, we'll delve into the art of cooking the perfect steak. We'll unlock the secrets of different cuts, explore various cooking techniques, and equip you with the knowledge to navigate the world of steak doneness with confidence. This is more than just a guide to cooking steak, it's an invitation to embark on a culinary adventure. So, fire up the grill, heat up the pan, and get ready to experience the joy of cooking and savoring a truly exceptional steak. Number 3. Deciphering the cuts. Before we even think about throwing a steak on the grill, we need to understand the beast we're dealing with. Cuts from the shoulder and leg, like chuck and round, are naturally tougher and better suited for slow cooking methods. For a proper steak experience, we're looking at the more tender cuts from the loin and rib. Number 4. The key to tenderness and flavor. Now let's talk about marbling. This is where the magic happens. Marbling refers to the thin streaks of fat that run through the meat, infusing it with flavor and moisture as it cooks. The more marbling a steak has, the richer and more flavorful it will be. Fat equals flavor, and when it comes to steak, we want all the flavor we can get. Number 5. A guide to popular cuts. Let's talk about some of the most popular cuts of steak. The ribeye, known for its rich marbling and intense beefy flavor, is perfect for grilling or pan-searing. The New York strip, leaner but still flavorful, is versatile and can be grilled, pan-seared, or broiled. The filet mignon, the most tender cut, is best cooked to rare or medium rare and is perfect for special occasions. Number 6. Mastering the art of grilling. Let's talk about grilling. The most primal and satisfying way to cook a steak. You need a good, hot grill to sear the steak quickly and create beautiful grill marks. Make sure the steak is at room temperature before grilling to ensure even cooking. Season it generously with salt and pepper, lay it on the grill, and listen for that sizzle. Number 7. From stovetop to oven. Pan searing is a fantastic alternative to grilling that can yield equally delicious results. Use a heavy bottom pan like cast iron and heat it until it's smoking hot. Pat the steak dry, season it generously, and sear it undisturbed for 2 to 3 minutes per side. Finish the steak in the oven to your desired doneness. Number 8. Embracing modern techniques. Sous vide cooking allows you to cook the steak to the exact temperature you desire, eliminating any guesswork. Season the steak, seal it in a vacuum bag, and immerse it in a temperature-controlled water bath. The result is a steak that's cooked perfectly from edge to edge, with a tenderness that's hard to achieve any other way. Number 9. Exploring regional steak cookery. Let's explore how different cultures approach the art of cooking steak. In Argentina, the asado involves grilling large cuts of beef over an open fire. The French prefer their steak pan-seared and finished with a flavorful sauce. In Japan, Wagyu beef is often cooked simply to showcase its natural flavor. Number 10. From rare to well done. Let's talk about doneness, the holy grail of steak cookery. Rare steak is seared on the outside but still practically raw in the center. Medium rare offers a balance of tenderness and flavor, while medium is mostly pink with a hint of brown. Medium well and well done are for those who prefer their steak cooked all the way through. Number 11. Feeling for the perfect doneness. The touch test allows you to gauge the doneness of your steak by feel. Relax your hand and feel the fleshy part of your palm for rare. Then bring your thumb and index finger together for medium rare. Touch your thumb to your middle finger for medium, ring finger for medium well, and pinky finger for well done. Number 12. Taking the guesswork out of steak. Now I know some of you might be thinking, Stefini, I'm not a surgeon. I don't want to be poking around in my steak with my fingers. And that's perfectly fine. If you prefer a more precise approach, a meat thermometer is your best friend. A meat thermometer takes all the guesswork out of cooking steak, ensuring that you achieve the perfect internal temperature every time. Simply insert the thermometer into the thickest part of the steak, making sure not to touch any bones, and wait for the reading to stabilize. Here's a handy guide to internal temperatures for different levels of doneness. Rare, 125 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, 52 to 54 degrees Celsius. Medium rare, 130 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit, 54 to 57 degrees Celsius. Medium, 135 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 57 to 60 degrees Celsius. Medium well, 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 to 65 degrees Celsius. Well done, 150 degrees Fahrenheit, 65 degrees Celsius, and above. Remember, the steak will continue to cook slightly after you remove it from the heat, so it's always best to take it off a few degrees below your desired doneness. Number 13. Letting the steak reach its full potential. Section 4. Rest and relaxation. Letting the steak reach its full potential. Now you might be tempted to dig into that beautiful steak the moment it comes off the grill or out of the pan, but hold your horses. Resting the steak is just as important as cooking it properly. It allows the juices to redistribute throughout the meat, resulting in a more tender and flavorful steak. Once the steak is cooked to your liking, transfer it to a cutting board or plate and tin it loosely with aluminum foil. This will help to keep the steak warm while it rests. The resting time will vary depending on the thickness of the steak, but a good rule of thumb is to let it rest for at least 5 minutes for thinner cuts, and up to 10 to 15 minutes for thicker cuts. During this resting period, the muscle fibers will relax, allowing the juices to flow back into the meat. If you cut into the steak too soon, all those precious juices will end up on your cutting board instead of in your mouth. And trust me, nobody wants a dry, flavorless steak. Once the steak has rested, remove the foil and slice it against the grain. This will help to shorten the muscle fibers even further, resulting in a more tender bite. Now, you're ready to savor the fruits of your labor and enjoy a truly exceptional steak experience. Number 14. Elevating the steak's natural flavor. Section 1. Seasoning secrets. Elevating the steak's natural flavor. Listen, you can't just slap a beautiful piece of meat on the grill and expect it to taste like £1,000,000. Seasoning is crucial, you hear me? It's about enhancing the natural flavors of the steak, not masking them. And when it comes to seasoning steak, simplicity is key. Salt and pepper are your best mates in this game, but don't be reaching for that dusty old salt shaker in the back of your cupboard. We're talking good quality sea salt, the kind with big, crunchy crystals that add texture and depth of flavor. And freshly ground black pepper. None of that pre-ground nonsense. You want to taste those peppercorns, not the dust they've been sitting in for months. Now, the timing of your seasoning is crucial. Some folks like to salt their steaks well in advance, even overnight. And while that can work for certain cuts, I prefer to season my steaks right before they hit the heat. It allows the salt to penetrate the meat just enough without drawing out too much moisture. And don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Massage that salt and pepper into every nook and cranny of the steak. You want to create an even coating that will form a beautiful crust as it cooks. Number 15. Achieving steakhouse-worthy results. Section 2. The crust is a must-achieving steakhouse-worthy results. Now let's talk about the crust, that beautiful caramelized exterior that separates a good steak from a great one. A good crust is a thing of beauty. It's a symphony of flavor and texture. It's crispy, it's savory, and it's what gives a steak that irresistible steakhouse aroma. The key to achieving a perfect crust is high heat. Whether you're grilling or pan-searing, you need that intense heat to sear the surface of the steak quickly and evenly. We're talking screaming hot, the kind of heat that makes you want to step back from the grill. But high heat alone isn't enough. You also need a bit of fat to help conduct that heat and create a beautiful, even browning. If you're grilling, make sure your steak has a good amount of marbling. If you're pan searing, add a tablespoon or two of high heat oil to the pan before adding the steak. And once that steak hits the heat, don't touch it. Resist the urge to poke, prod, or move it around. Let it sear undisturbed for a good few minutes per side, depending on the thickness of the steak. You'll know it's ready to flip when it releases easily from the grill or pan. Number 16, the art of presentation. Section 3, slicing and dicing, the art of presentation. Alright, you've cooked your steak to perfection, you've achieved a beautiful crust. Now it's time to present your masterpiece. Because let's face it, we eat with our eyes first, and a beautifully presented steak is a feast for the senses. First things first, let that steak rest. I know I've said it before, but it bears repeating. Resting allows the juices to redistribute throughout the meat, resulting in a more tender and flavorful steak. Once the steak is rested, it's time to slice. And here's where things get a bit technical. You want to slice against the grain, which means cutting perpendicular to the direction of the muscle fibers. This will help to shorten those fibers, resulting in a more tender bite. Now, the thickness of your slices is a matter of personal preference, but I generally recommend slicing steaks about ½ inch to 1 inch thick. This will give you a good balance of tenderness and flavor. And finally, don't forget about presentation. Arrange those beautiful slices on a platter or individual plates, adding a touch of elegance to your meal. A sprig of fresh rosemary or thyme, a sprinkle of flaky sea salt, or a drizzle of good quality olive oil can elevate your presentation from simple to stunning. Number 17, common errors to avoid. Section 1, stop sabotaging your steak, common errors to avoid. Right, let's talk about mistakes. We all make them. Even seasoned chefs like myself have been known to commit a culinary sin or two. But when it comes to steak, some mistakes are simply unforgivable. These are the cardinal sins, the blunders that can turn a beautiful piece of meat into a rubbery, flavorless disaster. First up, overcrowding the pan. Listen, I get it. You're excited to get that steak sizzling, but cramming too many steaks into a pan is a recipe for disaster. It lowers the temperature of the pan, preventing the steaks from searing properly, and resulting in a pale, unevenly cooked mess. Give those steaks some space to breathe, cook them in batches if you have to. Next, using the wrong tools. A good workman never blames his tools, but a good cook knows the importance of using the right equipment. Using a flimsy spatula to flip a thick-cut ribeye is a surefire way to tear the meat and lose all those precious juices. Invest in a good pair of tongs. They'll give you the grip and control you need to handle those steaks with confidence. And for crying out loud, stop pressing down on the steak. I've seen home cooks do this with a vengeance, as if they're trying to flatten the poor thing into submission. All you're doing is squeezing out the juices, leaving you with a dry, tough steak. Let the steak cook undisturbed. It'll release from the pan when it's ready. Number 18, essential steak preparation tips. Section 2, from fridge to flame, essential steak preparation tips. Now, before you even think about lighting that grill or heating up that pan, there are a few crucial steps you need to take to ensure steak success. These are the fundamentals, the building blocks of a perfect steak, and neglecting them is like forgetting to put petrol in your car. It's simply not going to end well. First and foremost, temperature is key. Taking a steak straight from the fridge and throwing it on a screaming hot grill is a recipe for disaster. The sudden temperature change will cause the meat to seize up, resulting in a tough, unevenly cooked steak. Let that steak come to room temperature before you even think about cooking it. Next, pat those steaks dry. Moisture is the enemy of a good sear, so make sure your steaks are as dry as a bone before they hit the heat. Use paper towels to gently pat away any excess moisture. This will help to ensure a beautiful, even crust. And don't even think about skipping the oil. Whether you're grilling or pan searing, a little bit of oil is essential for creating that beautiful caramelized crust we all know and love. Use a high heat oil like avocado oil or grapeseed oil, and don't be afraid to be generous. Those steaks deserve it. Finally, and this is crucial, invest in a good meat thermometer. I know you think you can judge doneness by touch, but trust me, a meat thermometer takes all the guesswork out of cooking steak. It's the only way to ensure that you achieve the perfect internal temperature every time. Number 19. The perfect steak awaits. Section 1. Elevate your culinary game. The perfect steak awaits. There you have it, folks. The secrets to cooking a perfect brilliant steak laid bare for all to see. From understanding the nuances of different cuts to mastering the art of searing, seasoning, and resting, we've covered it all. Remember, cooking a steak isn't rocket science, but it does require attention to detail, a respect for the ingredients, and a willingness to learn from your mistakes. Now it's time to put your newfound knowledge to the test. Fire up that grill, heat up that pan, and get ready to create a steakhouse-worthy meal in the comfort of your own home. Don't be afraid to experiment, to push the boundaries, to find what works best for you. The world of steak is vast and delicious, and there's always something new to discover. So go forth, my culinary disciples, and conquer the art of the perfect steak. And remember, as always, cook with passion, cook with confidence, and most importantly, cook with a smile. For more amazing food and drinks tips and recipes, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. Tell us about your thoughts in the comments section. Check out our other videos for more culinary inspiration. We love you. Until next time, keep cooking, stay adventurous.